My friends, from the heart of Rome's ancient clamor to the restless spirit of your modern age, I, Marcus Aurelius, have witnessed the enduring struggle against inner turmoil. Just as I sought serenity amidst empire's trials and treachery, I observed today countless souls ensnared by fleeting emotions and anxieties over what they cannot control. The very wisdom I whisper to myself in solitude, recorded in my meditations, remains your guide to find peace and logic within chaos. For as I learned, if something is not in your power, be at peace that you have nothing to do with it. So, lend me your ear and together, let's take a step on the path to clear thinking and a life of wisdom. Why our minds become troubled. My friends, perhaps you imagine that mental burdens and the onslaught of thoughts are new phenomena unique to your age, an era of instantaneous news and boundless connections. But truly, has not the soul's turmoil been a concern of humanity since ancient times? In my day, though global networks did not exist and information did not spread like light to every corner, the human mind was just as entangled, grappling with worries of war, fear plague, the temptation of power, vexation from others' unkindness, or even the dread of death and decay. Like an emperor ruling a vast dominion, I too wrestle with endless inner battles of the mind. Intrusive thoughts, unruly emotions, and the temptation to dwell on what was beyond my control constantly threatened my peace. At times, I also found myself immersed in the darkness of doubt, fearful of the future or regretting the past. Yet, this agitation only drained my energy and diverted me from my duty, that is, living wisely and acting virtuously. As I wrote in my meditations, it is not things themselves that disturb men, but their judgments about these things. This means the core problem is often not the event themselves, but how we view and react to them. This is where many people, both in my time and in yours, lose their way. They strive to change the external world, unaware that the source of peace or turmoil lies within their own inner world. In the next section, I will tell you how I, by applying specific principles, was able to curb these agitations and attain mental clarity. The Stoic pillars of clarity. Yes, mental turmoil is like a shadow that pursues every human being in every age. But are we condemned to live in this chaos? Never. I learned that the path to liberation lies not in changing the world, but in changing how we view it and how we react to events. Now, I shall introduce you to the 5 firm pillars of Stoic philosophy that, like a lighthouse in the darkness, illuminate the path to mental clarity. 1. The dichotomy of control, a discernment of wisdom. Most of our suffering stems from occupying our minds with things over which we have no power. The first and perhaps most crucial lesson I learned was to distinguish between things within our control and things not within our control. As I have said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. As an emperor, I could not prevent a plague, nor could I fully dictate the outcome of battles, but I could control my reaction to illness, my decisions on the battlefield, and my ability to maintain inner calm. I had dominion over my choices, my thoughts, and my actions. Today, you also cannot control urban traffic or change the opinions of others, but you can choose how to react to a traffic delay, with anger and anxiety, or with acceptance and the use of the time for reflection. You cannot change past events, but you can control how you learn from them and move forward. By focusing on what is within your sphere of control, a significant portion of your worries will vanish. 2. Objective representation. Seeing the world as it is. We often suffer not from things themselves, but from the labels we attach to them. Objective representation means seeing events, people, and situations without adding emotional or subjective judgments. I constantly strove to see things in their true essence. For instance, what is death? As I reflected in my moment of solitude, death is nothing but the dissolution of sensations. This perspective removes fear. When faced with a difficult person, instead of judging them as mean or annoying, I try to see them simply as an individual with different opinions acting according to their own will. Before reacting to a piece of news or criticism, ask yourself, what is the bare fact of this event, stripped of my personal interpretations or emotions? Instead of saying I failed, say, this endeavor did not yield the expected result. This way of seeing enables you to analyze more logically and respond more thoughtfully, for emotions cast a veil over clarity. 3. Premeditation of evils, preparing for all that may be. Sometimes we imagine that by ignoring problems, they will disappear, but the Stoics taught the opposite. By being aware of the worst, prepare yourself for it. This does not mean pessimism, but rather a form of mental preparedness. As I reminded myself at the beginning of each day, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. This foresight helped me avoid sudden anger when facing adversities, because I was prepared for them. For example, before an important presentation, consider what unexpected things might happen. The projector might not work, or a very difficult question might be asked. By imagining these scenarios and thinking about how you would react, your mind will be calmer and you'll experience less anxiety. This type of readiness helps you act with greater clarity in the moment, responding logically instead of being caught off guard. 4. The inner citadel, the impenetrable fortress of the soul. The external world is full of chaos and change, but the wise person builds a refuge within themselves, a strong fortress that no external force can penetrate. This inner citadel is the very center of peace, logic, and self-control that only we ourselves can build and maintain. Amidst battlements, during plagues, and in the face of betrayals, I often sought refuge in this inner citadel. I reminded myself that nothing external can harm your mind unless you allow it. It is not external things that cause you distress, but your own judgments about them that cause you distress. This citadel was a place where I could organize my thoughts, manage my emotions, and return to my essence, regardless of what was happening around me. In today's tumultuous world, where information incessantly bombards your mind and the opinions of others can easily disturb you, building the citadel is more essential than ever. By practicing mindfulness, moments of silence, and detaching yourself from the external noise, you can strengthen this inner fortress. Learn to pause and return to your inner calm before reacting impulsively to every stimulus or uttering a single word. 5. Virtues as a guide, the compass of a wise life. All our efforts for mental clarity must ultimately lead to wise and virtuous action. The Stoics emphasize 4 cardinal virtues that, like a guiding star, illuminate the path of life: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. In every decision I made as emperor, whether in matters of state or personal life, I saw myself committed to these virtues. I reminded myself that always remember that you are human and your life is short, but to live virtuously build a lasting legacy. Wisdom helped me discern the right path. Justice guided me towards fairness in dealing with my citizens. Courage was my companion in facing hardships, and temperance restrained me from excess. Clear thinking, in the end, is a tool to serve these virtues. In your day and age, when faced with a difficult choice, ask yourself, what does it mean to act wisely, justly, courageously, or temperately in this situation? Is this decision driven by anger or fear, or by reason and virtue? By asking these questions, you can make more conscious choices that benefit not only yourself, but also those around you, ultimately leading to a more purposeful and satisfying life. My daily practice. My friends, I did not merely read these principles in books or ponder them in solitude. I lived them. Stoicism for me was not a philosophy merely spoken, but a way of living. And this path required continuous practice. Every day at the dawn, before the multitude of imperial duties and problems weighed heavily on my shoulders, I dedicated moments to reflection. In my meditations, which were indeed my personal journal, and not a book for publication, I dialogue with myself. In these pages, I reminded myself of what was within my control and what was not. I anticipated the potential events of the day so as not to be caught off guard. I admonished myself to view others with objective representation and not with emotional judgments. And most importantly, I committed myself to the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. This was not a one-time achievement, but a daily process. Every day, I fought to overcome intrusive thoughts, to master my emotions, and to return to my inner citadel. Sometimes I succeeded, and sometimes I did not, but I always continued to practice. For I knew that philosophy is not just something to read or think about. It is something to live. And the purpose of all these practices was neither fame nor greater power, but to achieve mental clarity for wise decision-making and to live in harmony with nature and reason. So, O human of the modern age, at the conclusion of this discourse, I wish to remind you, mental clarity is a hidden treasure that resides within each of you. This treasure is found not by escaping problems, but by confronting them logically and wisely. I, Marcus Aurelius, with the aid of Stoic philosophy, was able to experience peace and clarity at the height of chaos. You too can walk this path. These principles are tools that will help you master your mind, rather than being a slave to your thoughts and emotions. They empower you to be resilient in the face of adversity and to choose wisdom in your decisions. Now it is your turn. Which of these Stoic pillars resonated most with your soul? How can you, starting today, even with a small step, apply these principles in your daily life? Are you ready to build your inner citadel and attain mental clarity? Share your insights and experiences on this journey with us. If this discourse was valuable to you, share it with others, so that the light of this ancient wisdom may also shine upon other thirsty souls.